Well, hello there. It is January 4th. We're here again. Here's my messy kitchen. You know how it is. Today, I am going to make something that our family eats a lot and really enjoys, and that is beef stew. We are going to can up our beef stew and probably eat some tomorrow, honestly. So I have everything lined up. I have my, oof, jeez, I've got cow buckets down here in my way. So we have this beautiful beef roast that we cut up. I couldn't tell you exactly how many pounds, a bit. We have carrots, some of my last grown potatoes from homegrown potatoes from last year, and onions, salt, and pepper. That is all that we use for our stew. So I'm going to find a good angle for this camera, and I'm going to set it down so you can watch me fill these jars. So I'm doing cold ingredients, cold canner. You know the drill. You know what I like to do. I would normally add bone broth to this, but since I don't have that, I'm going to go ahead and just use cold water, and it'll be just fine. It'll taste great. When it comes out and we put it in the pan, then we can thicken it and do all those things. You can add thickener. I'm not going to mess with that. I don't care. We'll do that later. And then for the potatoes, we'll call this another rebel recipe because you know I like to do those. So for potatoes, it's not recommended to can them with their skins on because there can be a concern for botulism. They've never done a study to show how many minutes you should can it. Considering that I'm canning all of this for 90 minutes, I really have no issues at all. Like potatoes, 40 minutes. I'm canning this for 90. That's over double the safe canning time for potatoes. So I don't have a worry in the world. However, if you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and skin your potatoes. Bada bing, bada boom, no problem. All right, I'm gonna get set up and we'll come right back. Here's my workstation. And you know what? I realized I forgot something already. I got to find the canning funnel. La la la. Or all the noise in the background, you know. Alright, here we go. So, here's what I'm doing. This is just crazy simple. It's like an assembly line here. I'm going to fill up my jar about a third to halfway with beef, because after all, it's beef stew. I mean, I don't want to be stingy with that. Then I'm actually going to go ahead and add half of my salt. So I'm adding a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add half of it now. And I'm using half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add half of that now. And I'll add the other half here in a minute. I like to make sure I layer my flavors. I don't want anybody to miss out. And I'm not packing super tight. I will in a minute, though. I'll pack it a bit tighter. So then I'm actually going to do onions next, because from experience, I know that they float up quite a bit. So we're just adding some. And you got to do what you're happy with. And then actually I'm gonna use my clean hand here because I don't foresee using all my potatoes and carrots tonight, and I definitely don't want to cross-contaminate. So add some potatoes and put some carrots up to the inch head space, and I can already see, oh yeah, here we go, good. Yeah. So you want to make sure you get in there good. I mean, you don't want to pack it like crazy tight. You really can't pack it crazy tight. I mean, you just can't. It's just not going to give. But we want to get a generous amount in there. All right. Then we are going to add our, oh, almost forgot, other half of the salt, other half of the pepper. I'm not adding any herbs, spices, anything like that. I want this to be very simple. And I'm going to add my water up to the 1-inch line. We are going to have to debubble a bit because you got that meat in there. You're going to have to help the liquid get down between those spaces. Very, very important to debubble when you're doing something like this. And don't be alarmed when you see all the ingredients scooching up the side of the jar here. We'll take care of all that in a minute. So I always go around the outside, and then I stick whatever it is in the middle, and I jiggle it around really, really, really well. And Aiden's coming to say hi, because that's what Aiden does. Hi, Aiden.
Hello.
All they can see is your floofy head, kid. All right, and then we just bring our liquid up to the 1-inch line.
Delicious.
It is delicious.
Yes, I love raw potatoes.
I'm gonna make sure that we're good here. That looks great to me. And I have a mixture of vinegar and water. Last time I canned with those chili beans, I actually had 3 of my 4 lids fail, and I used water instead of my normal vinegar. So I don't know if that was it or what. I mean, I did everything else the same. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with what works for me. Make sure that I have a clean rim, which I do. No chips, cracks, anything like that. I've inspected my jars. And here we go.
This video is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Congratulations.
Okay, and then just like that. Look at that. You see that? You got my layer of beef, onions, potatoes, and carrots. You can adjust the proportions however you want. So I'm going to put these in the canner. I'm hoping for 14 quarts. We'll see what we actually get. But it's just that simple. This is going to be like a super quick video because I just don't have that much to show you. You know, I mean, anybody can do this. This is a wonderful way to get food on your table. We had bought a whole beef last, I want to say it was March. And I've not done much with the roasts. I mean, we like pot roast, but there's only so many pot roasts you can eat. And I like making beef stew, but as you know, it's generally a process that takes a few hours. So this, to me, is ideal because I can go ahead and have this pre-made on the shelf. We go through a lot of this because it tastes really, really good. And I get reminded that we need more. So now I'm able to do that. Again, it's another hectic day. I have some kids that Awana, and I forgot to do my spice layering, but you know what? That's okay. We'll just put our stuff here. Yeah, so I have a few minutes here. Before I have to scooch out the door and get them. It's snowing again, so the roads are starting to get a little sketchy. I'm looking forward to getting home again. I'm really not a big fan of driving in the snow. It probably sounds ridiculous. I grew up in Alaska, but I did not grow up driving in Alaska. I was only a child. So I am not a big fan of the driving in snow. Fun fact, my husband actually taught me how to drive. We got married when I was 21, and he taught me how to drive. So I learned everything I know about that from my husband. I suppose that's probably not something that happens too often, but that's just kind of how life worked out, and I'm very glad he taught me because he's a very good driver, so I was very grateful for that. All right, here we go. Here's another jar, and I'm just going to keep scooching along. I'm going to pop these in my pressure canner with cold water in it. 90 minutes at 10 pounds PSI for my elevation. You have to look up your elevation to know what you need. And I always, maybe it's silly of me, but I always line up my lids so they look pretty. I want them to align with the front of the jar. Anyway, and then once they are all done, I will pop them out of the canner and, whoops, this one's being stubborn, and show you what they look like. All right, see you in a bit. Well, I wanted to show you my jars of stew tonight. However, the pressure canner is going to take a little while to come down off of pressure. So I apologize. I'm going to go ahead and get this video up, but I will be showing you what the stew looks like tomorrow. And I also wanted to give you a little bonus thing too. Looky here. My apple scrap vinegar that I did for the Every Bit Counts. It's done. And I'm so excited. Anyway, I apologize for not being able to show you this stew. It's just going a long time. It took a long time to warm up. Kids had Awana tonight. It was just kind of crazy. So I will show you tomorrow the final product, and I can't wait to show you what we're doing tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.